recent graph was posted online showing the data and statistics that show the growth of the comic and graphic novel industry from January 3rd, 2021 to January 1st, 2022. The results were shocking. 77% of units sold. 77% of units sold were manga. Manga is dominating comics, mainstream comics, Western comics, the big two, Marvel and DC, Image, Dark Horse. Manga is dominating all of it. So why is it that people continue to say the industry is healthy when it clearly is not? And before we get into it, I want to let you know that my own manga/comic, The Girl with the Mega Fist, Volume 1 is currently on pre-order on Kickstarter. We'll talk about that at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Alright guys, this is an impromptu video. I'm just going to have the screenshot up here while I draw. I actually had this data 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I, for legal purposes, couldn't talk about it, but now I can. Oh my gosh. One of the biggest frustrations that I have being someone who loves comic books, I love comic books. I grew up reading manga, and then I stopped reading manga, got into comic books, wanted to draw comic books, try to change my manga art style into a more Western friendly style. I had a very hard time doing that. That's why we went back to going into the manga art with The Girl with the Mega Fist. But it's been so sad to see comics just go downhill. And one of the most frustrating things to hear in the community is comic and graphic novels sales are up. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And they are up. But when you get into the numbers, when you get into the data, you see that they're actually not up in terms of mainstream comics. We're talking about Marvel. We're talking about DC Comics. We're talking about Image, Dark Horse, Dynamite, Oni Press. We're talking about all of these big Western companies that produce, some of your favorite titles like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Thor, X-Men, the Avengers. They are being destroyed by manga. This isn't even counting Japanese and other worldwide sales. This is just the American sales. Okay? So when people go, oh, the industry is growing, it's huge. Yeah, 77% of that is manga. 77% of that is manga. Okay? That's nuts. Okay? And 7% of it is just the superhero market. That is so tiny. Now, it's awesome to see all other genres, 17%. Is that Dogman? Does Dogman get to be counted in the other genres? Probably. So it makes me ask this question. Again, I ask this question all the time. Why can't like comic book companies like Marvel and DC and even some of the community and the creators realize that a change needs to be made? Why are they so ignorant to the sales and data? We see these graphs pop up all the time, and all you hear is from people like Tom Taylor is the industry is growing. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Well, yeah, it's growing. 77% of it is manga. Okay, and here's the thing. I love manga. I'm having a great time reading manga, but it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart because I also love comic books. So what can be done? I've stated my opinion several times on this channel, but maybe I state them again. Fire all your editors. Fire all of your current editors. They suck. They clearly are not being able to do their jobs. Find new creators. Pay them better. Get the good writers to stay. Get the good artists to stay. And create a good, healthy culture of writers and artists to make good books. The biggest problem is that you're having these top tier talents leaving because they're not getting paid anymore, and then they're being infiltrated by all these creators who don't know how to write a comic. They don't actually like comics, and if you read their books are so boring, and then they don't sell well. And when people say why don't they sell well, they say it's because people are anti-diversity and race and what. And it's like, no, we're not anti any of that. You just are really bad at writing, and we do not care about your stories. Another thing maybe to consider is that the format of comics is outdated. As you can see, manga is killing it. Why is manga killing it? Because people love to get small bite-sized things in digital format, and then they also like getting the rest of it in a trade paperback. So maybe comics needs to go back and do some more graphic novels. Maybe they need to do a format structure change. Maybe they need to ignore the collectors market who thrive off of variant covers and special releases and these floppies. These floppies are so detrimental to the comic book business. I mean, I went to my local comic book store the other day after not being there for a year. No one was there buying comics, and yet you go to a local Barnes & Noble and there are probably 10 or 12 teenagers there stuffing their freaking arms with manga at $10 a piece. Why? Because they want a full story, they want some good characters, they want some good arcs, and they're ready to spend their money. I hate when I hear people say, well, kids don't have money, so we don't market to them. It's false. These kids have credit cards. These kids have debit cards. These kids have jobs. They have parents who are like so glad that they're reading that they're like, yeah, go buy a book. You know, what do you want your kid to do? Hey mom, can I get $10 for weed, or can I have $10 to have a book? The parents are going to pick a book. And also, okay, there needs to be a better correlation with the media and the books, okay? When you read a manga, you can then go over and watch the anime, and boom, basically the same thing. When you read a Marvel comic book, you don't know what to watch. Is because if I pick up Mark Millar's Civil War, it is not the same as the MCU's Civil War. If I read Matt Fraction and David Aja's Hawkeye, it is not the same as the Disney Plus series of Hawkeye. If I pick up Batman, there's no Batman book that emulates any of the movies. So how do I get from one medium to the next? Well, you don't in comics. You just have to guess. Where in anime, it is such an easy starting point. You want to get into Demon Slayer? Read Volume 1. It's the same thing as Demon Slayer Episode 1. You see what I'm saying? Listen, I love comic books. I love the comic book industry, but I will not be ignorant to the fact that when people say the comic book industry is growing, I will not be ignorant to the fact that 77% of that growth in units sold is manga. And if you continue to think that everything is okay after looking at this graph, then you are just closing your eyes to the real problems of things. And that's fine. People are going to do that, but the ship is sinking, so we can either plug the holes or get on a new ship. And I think right now readers are deciding to get on a new ship, and that ship is manga, which is sad because I love comics. Okay, thank you so much to everyone who watched. Thank you to my patrons who make it possible for me to make these videos, and my own comics and manga. If you want to get early access and read my books, then become a patron. I'm also releasing my book February 16th on Kickstarter. The Girl with the Megafist Volume 1 is the epic tale of Eliana as she trains and becomes a powerful hero chosen by the gods. Unfortunately, she must choose between two twin brothers who have also been chosen by the gods and must protect Earth alongside one of them. Besides battling the forces of darkness, she must choose either the brother that is the most powerful or the one that has her heart. We will see you in February. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think of this video. All right, peace.